So, back for another VGC guide, and this time we are looking at Blaziken. This is kind of a perfect Incineroar counter. Fire and Fighting resist both of its stabs, and you'll be able to respond back with a massive close combat into it. This is the correct way to run Blaziken. Blaziken will be just completely disregarded because it's so frail. Speed Boost is great. Speed Boost is a fantastic ability. And it gets Swords Dance. That's a very easy sweep potential right there. Swords Dance, Speed Boost, and off you go. Here's the sweep. But it is too frail to make use of it. But this is where this spread comes into play. So I used a very similar Blaziken back in, of all things, the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl VGC format, even though that was not actually a thing. It was kind of a thing for a bit. And this Blaziken was amazing in that format. It was able to survive things like a Garchomp Earthquake and be able to Swords Dance in its face, and then be able to respond back with a +2 KO with close combat. Things like that. So this is actually even bulkier than that Blaziken was. So that Blaziken had a lot more speed because it was outspeeding a max speed Tyranitar, which was relevant in that format. So you could outspeed a Dragon Dance Tyranitar / a Choice Scarf one. But here, you're able to outspeed a Choice Scarf Urshifu when you are at +2 speed. So that's the benchmark I've gone for here. You can't outspeed a Choice Scarf Urshifu just at +1, so there's no point even trying. You might as well just go for the outspeeding at +2. I know that you can't protect in front of it as it Surging Strikes you to get that KO, but you can turn into a Grass type and be able to resist, and then you'll be able to respond back to your close combat KO. So yeah, the bulky Blaziken is the way to run it, in my opinion. And this is actually respectable. If it's bulked out like this is respectable, while being able to do significant damage because both its stabs are 120 base power. And this is where the White Herb comes into play as well. Clear Amulet is the obvious one. That's going to stop Intimidates as well from Incineroar. And it always stops Intimidates from Incineroar. White Herb only does it once. However, White Herb is better because it's paired with close combat. Because you've bulked out your Blaziken, you don't want to just sacrifice your sacrifice your bulk, I should say, to a close combat. Because then that defeats the point of running bulky Blaziken. That's where the White Herb comes into play. Also helps with Intimidates, so that when you're intimidated before you Swords Danced, you'll be able to go back to neutral and then up to +2, and then you're sorted. Or you've Swords Danced, and now you're close combating, and you then get to keep your defensiveness by getting the White Herb activated on the defense drops as well. So White Herb over Clear Amulet for sure on this Blaziken. That's the whole point of this Blaziken. Coming together to be nice and bulky. This is actually a very reasonable Incineroar counter. Because of that, I put it in B. Otherwise, if Incineroar wasn't a thing, it would probably still be in C. But because this is a great Incineroar counter, then I think it does deserve at least some kind of recognition. It's probably still not going to be used at all, but I think this set is entirely viable and it's got to be the right way to run Blaziken, right? If you've got Focus Sash, because we've said it's so frail, you can't really run Flare Blitz. That doesn't really work. So now you've got to fall back to either Fire Punch or Temper Flare. Temper Flare is the new toy, so why wouldn't you run Temper Flare? But Close Combat is the main move you'd be going for anyway. At that point, you won't care if your defenses are dropped because you've got the Focus Sash. You'll still be able to get some sweeps going with this Blaziken. You'll be able to outspeed a Choice Scarf Landorus at +1 with Jolly. You still won't get the Urshifu though, so just keep that in mind. But this Blaziken, like I thought back even in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, it's had hidden potential. Sure, it still does here.